All right, so I've been charging up the batteries. That's what the sound is out there. I've got my truck going outside, and I've got the extension cord coming in here, and then it's going up. I've got the extra kind of like 3-prong outlet that I can use. So I'm powering up my computer and got to get that going so I can make this video. And then also powering up the battery. I didn't get enough solar yesterday. I went to go chainsaw all this wood that's right here at my friend's ranch, and so I've got enough pinion pine, or I'm sorry, I've got enough juniper, I think, for probably 5 days out here. I only used 4 pieces last night, and some of these are pretty good size. I mean, like, and here's my hand on this one. It's decent. We got some other ones down here. This one's pretty big. So I got some good evening logs for burns, and it just, the juniper burns so hot, and it's a little bit harder wood than the pinion pine that I was working with. And that hardwood that I had over there in Colorado, I don't know what it was, but it didn't seem that hard. I mean, it was a little bit harder than pinion pine, but it wasn't hard by much. But the juniper, what's great about having that in my stove is that juniper is about 35 to 40% harder than pinion, and it's got that awesome cedar aroma because it's a cedar wood. And so I like using it. The only thing, people complain about it, and I understand, I guess, a little bit. There's a little bit of popping noise with it, and so if you're having a hard time sleeping, or if that startles you, I guess that could wake you up. But I kind of like it because it sounds like a campfire. And the other thing that can be kind of a pain in the butt is that this wood is twisted, and so a lot of these branches, I mean, you'll see that I cut, you know, they've got bends in them and stuff like that. So that can be kind of hard to work with if you're trying to cut in mass. But overall, I mean, it just, you know, I like the wood. It's really good. What I did use is I used the Ryobi. I've got this, let me show you here. Got this electric chainsaw that I just started using, and I really like this one for a couple reasons. Number one, it's powerful as all get out. Those electric batteries that I have, I've got the 40 volt lithium ion. It's the 4 amp hour Ryobi battery. I've got 2 of these, and I was able to cut all of this wood and additional wood yesterday with just one charge, and I was able to fill up half of the bed of my truck all the way to the top of the topper with it. So this is quite a bit. It may not look that big on the film here because there's a lot that's tucked in underneath and around the back, but I've got a lot of wood. And so I like this because the cutting power of electricity, once you hit the go button on here, it just goes through everything, even the knots in there and stuff like that. 2-cycle chainsaws typically, you know, a lot of times they can bog down, like you know, you're hitting the gas and it's and then it can bog down when it hits a knot. You throw chains a lot easier that way. With this one, you don't smell like 2-stroke when you're done. That's real nice, considering that I don't shower very much. So you know, not smelling like a 2-stroke gas, you know, lawnmower is nice. So I like it. I've got 2 of those batteries, so I can essentially get 2 weeks worth of wood cut in one setting with both of those charged up. And then it does take a lot to charge them. When I plug them into my battery here, I notice a wattage pull of about 135 to 150, and that's continuous. And it takes, like, you know, if it's a 4 amp hour battery, 40 volts, let's see, probably takes about 2 hours to charge that. And so, you know, that's a lot of power that I'm pulling out of. So if I have 2 of those, I'm pulling 8 amp hours out of my battery, and 8 amp hours will run my fridge for 16 hours. Is that right? Yeah, almost 16 hours. So anyway, just to give you an idea of energy draw there. But I like that electric one. I realize some people are purists and they like the old ones. And plus too, like, the one thing about the electric is I'm not seeing ones that have the huge bars on it, like the 550 style or 550 model, you know, chainsaws. And so this one right here, I think it's a 14-inch. Yeah, that's about a 14-inch. That's a 14-inch blade right there, and so our 14-inch bar. And so that's not huge. I mean, you're not going to get massive cuts. I'm not going to be clearing, like, you know, ponderosa pines out of the middle of Forest Service trails, but it's good enough for firewood, so that's good enough for me. All right, let's see, what do I have to do now? Let's go outside and check out the snow. I think it's coming down pretty good. Hey, Sarah, you want to go outside? Sarah, come on, go. You want to go outside? Come on. You want to stay in there? You want to stay inside? All right, I'm going to go for a walk. Come on, let's go. Can we go? I'm going. Come on. I'm going. Last call. All right, we're out. Tell you what, I am super impressed with these trees. Look how massive they are. These things are huge. And the pine smell, the natural pine that comes from it's awesome. So I love that natural pine smell. I want to say thanks to Skillshare, the sponsor for today's video. I started using Skillshare last October. If you recall, when I was staying at my friend's A-frame on his off-grid ranch, I worked with Skillshare. That was the first time getting introduced to their online platform. And I started taking creative writing classes and then photography classes. And if you've noticed as of late, some of the nighttime photography I've been doing is pretty awesome. So I'm really excited. Those are the skills that I've learned on Skillshare. You might be asking yourself, what's Skillshare? Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, develop existing interests, and get lost in creativity. I'm excited because I need help with my organizational skills. Like I think I've got the content stuff kind of dialed in a little bit. I seem to have an eye for what I want to shoot. But when it comes to having like a workflow or a schedule, I'm the worst. So I started taking this class. I want to show it to you. The class I'm currently taking is called Productivity for Creatives. Build a system that brings out your best. And I really like the tagline for this class. It says, turns out inspiration isn't a muse, it's a muscle. And you have the power to make it stronger. And I think that's totally true. Thomas Frank is the author and he presents the lessons in this class. And the reason why I like Thomas is that he's a YouTuber. And so he's done the content creation thing and he knows exactly what the day-to-day kind of minutiae is of it. And that's one thing that I need to wrap my head around is figuring out the best workflow so I can maximize my time out here and also not spend every moment, you know, in front of my computer, because I've got a adorable little dog that likes to go hiking. So the first 1,000 people that use the link in the video description below get a free trial membership on Skillshare, and then after that it's only about 10 bucks a month. So thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and now back to some more snow footage. Smell. It's like once you smell the real stuff and then you go back to one of those car ones, you're like, these are gross. Here's looking back at camp, just to kind of give you an idea of how tall these trees are. So they are massive, and I love them. They're just, it's much different than Colorado. And the another thing too is on the ground here, there's like a blanket of these huge pine needles that are from these branches, and lots of debris on the ground. And so it's actually creating like a little barrier on the underside of my tent floor there. It's like a little insulation barrier because all those pine needles are packed down. And the only thing I got to watch out for is like making sure that none of my ambers from the stove drop out into that little open area underneath. Hang on here. Sorry about that. Into that little open area underneath the stove, because I don't want to have like a slow burn going on underneath my tent. That would be horrible because it just, everything would go up in flames. But as long as I keep an eye on that, you know, having that insulation down there is nice, because I've noticed that the ground isn't frozen directly underneath me, and that's what was keeping my tent so cold in Colorado. And like last night here, it got down to 21, but the ground wasn't emitting all that that cold air. It wasn't coming up from the ground because the ground, my tent floor wasn't flush with like the ground that was frozen. And that's what it was always in Colorado. Like I was always flush with just bare soil and it was frozen solid. And so I created for like a really cold floor structure. And here I've got, you know, a little bit of not only with the insulation, but I've got a sleeping bag down over it, and so it makes for a really nice warm floor. Look how massive these branches are and how long these pine needles are. It's much different than what we have in Colorado and what I'm accustomed to. So this has been kind of fun, like going to these different spots for winter camping this year, because I always just stuck around in Colorado, and now doing Arizona and New Mexico, and I want to do a little bit of Utah before the season's over. And so, you know, with the ranch, who knows what's going to happen. If I have to stay on the road, then, you know, that's not a bad thing. I like it. I'm just tired, and I think what I need to do is just kind of slow down a little bit and not push it so hard. I'm not 21 years old anymore, but I think that I am. And so I push it like I am, and then I just wear myself out. So anyway, let's see how that Sierra's in here just hanging out. What's up, girl? What are you doing? What's up, Sierra? What you doing in here? This girl there, bro. Oh, you're just my bed friend. You're just my sweetie. Get your belly? Come here. Let me get your belly. It's the cutest thing ever. Oh, you're just so much fun. It looks like Sierra wants to play with sticks instead of go back in the tent. But it's starting to come down pretty good. It's just that the wind is really kicking up and it's cold, and there's a little bit of it feels like humidity in the air, so it's definitely chilly. But this area is holding up fine, you know, not having the tent protector on there, the ceiling. I do have the spark arrestor on there, and gonna have to be diligent about cleaning that off to make sure the airflow is not impeded with using wood that's not 100% not seasoned. All right, goofball, you gotta wait up for me. I'm not as nimble as I once used to be when we first got together. All right, come on, let's go over here. Come on, let's go this way, over here. Come on. All right. See, let's go this way. Come on, girl. Over here, girl. Let's go this way. World's happiest dog right here. All right, so here you go.